No, 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 no. I'm so tired of women being told the answer to financial power is to sit there and track every latte, every Amazon order, every grocery trip, every oops, I bought my kid new shoes because their feet grew overnight moment like they're committing a crime. Budgets are bullshit. And before the personal finance police come for me, let me be very clear. I'm not saying don't know your numbers. I'm not saying spend like an idiot. I'm not saying ignore your money. Opposite. I'm saying the way most people teach budgeting is restrictive, shame-based, and fundamentally not how wealthy people think. It's not how business owners think. It's not how people who are building assets think. And it's definitely not how mothers who are already carrying the mental load of an entire household economy should be forced to think about money. Because the problem is not that you forgot to categorize your $17 salad. The problem is that you were taught to budget the crumbs instead of learning how to own the bakery. Welcome back to Mom's Money Talk. I'm Elli, the mom talking money like no one ever did for you. This is for the woman who's done managing money and ready to run her life like a business. I'm not a financial advisor, but I've built companies, sat in rooms with investors, and learned how money actually works. And here's the truth. You don't have a money problem. You have a systems problem. This isn't about budgeting harder or cutting lattes. It's about spending with intention, building assets, and thinking like the CFO of your household. Because if you're a mom, you're already running a business, the business of the home. So I'm giving you the playbook, one that makes your life feel lighter, not heavier. Today, we're attacking advice that feels 10 years outdated and emotionally manipulative. Yes, today we are going there. Budgets are bullshit. Not because numbers are bullshit. Numbers are not bullshit. Numbers are clarity. But budgets, the way most people teach them, become this tiny little cage. You're allowed this much for food. You're allowed this much for joy. You're allowed this much for your kids. You're allowed this much for life. And if you go over, shame on you. That's not wealth building. That is financial obedience training. What businesses do different. Businesses do not sit around every single day crying over every line item. Like, oh my God, we spent $42 on pens. They review, they analyze, they optimize. They have quarterly business reviews, QBRs. They get together and look at everything. What came in, what went out. Where did we overspend? Where are we underinvesting? What still makes sense? What no longer makes sense? What's producing return? And what's just leaking money? But it's not so minute that they have to be thinking about it all the time. They're not emotionally spiraling over every transaction. They're looking at the overall picture. And that's how I want mothers to start thinking about their households. Not like broke people begging a spreadsheet for permission, like business owners reviewing their household economy. I remember once in my agency, I was providing food for everyone when they were in the office, 3 days a week, whole team. It was a perk. It made the office feel good. People stayed in flow. We kind of worked through lunch. The days felt smoother. It supported the company culture. And then I looked at the numbers. I realized it was costing me as much as if I would hire one other employee. And I had to ask a real business owner question. Is this perk worth the same as adding another person to the team? That's not an emotional question. That's not shame. That's not, oh my God, we're bad for ordering lunch. It's just a review. Does this spend still match the value, especially when you look at it? Does this spend still support the business? Does this spend create enough return, ease, culture, speed, retention, energy, or output to justify itself? That's how wealthy people think. That is how business owners think. They do not make every expense a moral failure. They ask better questions. Okay, now bring that into the household. Maybe one of your biggest expenses is eating at restaurants. Okay, do not immediately shame yourself. Ask, is eating out one of our biggest values? Is going out and having that experience something that actually matters to us? Is it connection, convenience, culture, sanity? Is it the thing that lets us not cook after a day where everyone needed everything from us? And if the answer is yes, great. Now we optimize it. Where do I get the most points on dining? What credit card am I using for the expenses that are already significant? Is this aligned with my values? And then, am I getting rewards, cashback, Bitcoin, travel points, something that turns the spend into a smarter system? That can all exist. You can be aware of your spending without being afraid of it. You can review your money without shaming yourself. You can optimize your life without shrinking your life. The budget is going to fluctuate. Some months are lower, some months are higher. Yes, you have fixed costs, but even those change over time. Your cable bill, not the same as it was last year. Internet bill, phone bill changes. Maybe you added a device to your phone plan last year. Maybe one got paid off. Maybe the insurance went up. Maybe groceries went insane. Maybe your kids entered a new season. Suddenly the household economy shifted. Things change. So why are we pretending the goal is to create this perfect little monthly budget and then punish ourselves every time life acts like real life? That's not how money works. That's not how families work. That's not how businesses work. At some point, money is not just something you save. Money powers your investments, powers your energy, your time, your ability to choose. Money is a lever. And when you review your numbers, you get to ask, where is my money buying me time? Where is my money buying me wellness? Where is my money buying me mental clarity? Where is my money buying capacity? Where is my money helping me build assets? Where is my money helping me become the kind of woman who can make more, own more, lead more, and breathe more? Because sometimes the smartest financial move is not cutting another $40. Sometimes the smartest move is buying back 4 hours of your life so you can upskill, sell, build, rest, think, invest, or finally hear your own damn thoughts. I like to buy time. I like to buy wellness. I like to buy mental clarity. But I don't want wellness to just mean more stuff and a million appointments. I want it to mean I'm making time to upskill, making time to read, making time to look at investments, making time to think about what's happening in the world, making time to build assets. I'm making time to become more valuable. So when I look at the numbers, I'm not asking, how can I deprive myself? I'm asking, where's there room for me to do more? If I pull this lever over here and spend a little more buying time, what happens on the other side? Do I get more capacity? Do I get more earning power, clarity, peace? Do I get more space to build? That's a wealth question. A budget asks, what are you allowed to spend? A review asks, what is this spend doing for my life? Completely different energy. And listen, when I pay someone to clean my house or help with my laundry or support my home, which I do, I'm not sitting there feeling guilty like I failed some imaginary womanhood test. Are you kidding me? I am happy to give them my business. Power to you, support the people. A lot of these other people are small business owners. So again, now my spend matches my value and I'm buying time and I'm supporting another business. I'm creating more capacity in my household. I'm not just outsourcing because I'm lazy. It's not moral like that. I'm reallocating energy. That is what businesses do. That's what they're doing with AI. So what wealthy people do. This is what mothers need permission to do. This is why I struggle with the old school personal finance advice, the count every dollar people, the give every dollar a job people, the you need a strict budget people, the cut everything fun until you're financially worthy people. I get it. For some people, especially if you're in crisis or debt is eating you alive, the structure matters. But a budget's a noun, not a verb. And that advice got turned into a whole operating system where women are taught that the path to wealth is self-denial. Don't spend, don't want, don't enjoy, don't outsource, don't invest in yourself yet, don't use credit cards, don't take risks, don't build until everything's safe. No, that is not the only path. And for a lot of ambitious mothers, it's the wrong path. Because you're not just trying to survive, you're trying to build. And I'm not the only one saying this. Cody Sanchez, she talks constantly about ownership, assets, buying businesses, and thinking like an operator instead of a consumer. Layla Hermotzi talks about money psychology, discipline, skill building, and principles behind making more money. These women are not building their lives around clipping coupons as the whole strategy, and I love that. They're building around value creation, ownership, skills, systems, leverage. That's the conversation I want mothers in. Not, did you go $12 over your coffee budget? Girl, please. The grocery bill It's not the whole problem, okay? Your lack of assets is. So here's a framework. The household QBR. Here's what I want you to do instead. Once a quarter, sit down, review the household like a business. Not every day, not obsessively, not from panic, from power. Ask what came in, what went out, what were our biggest categories of spend, which expenses still match our values, and which expenses are outdated. Where are we leaking money? Where are we under investing? What are we paying for that buys us time? Oh, I get chills. What are we paying for that buys us stress? What could we optimize? What could we automate? And what could we redirect into assets or skills? What could be redirected into Bitcoin, investments, a business, a course, a book, a tool, childcare, house support, or anything else that actually expands our capacity? This is the game. This is the game. It's not budgeting, reviewing, optimizing, redirecting, reinvesting. A budget says stay inside the lines. A review says, are these still the right lines? A budget says you're bad if you overspend. A review says, what changed? A budget says cut. A review says optimize. A budget says restrict. A review says reallocate. A budget says think smaller. A review says spend smart. Acquire assets. So now, I don't want you scared to look at your money. Why would you be scared to look at it? Just look at it. But don't overthink it. Don't turn every transaction into a referendum on your worth as a woman, a mother, a wife, or human being. There's a problem with getting too granular. At some point, you need to understand the percentages. Get out of the weeds. Coming in, going out, what's fixed, what's flexible, what's aligned, what's stale, what's buying you more time, and what's building assets, what's just noise. But budgeting as a verb, it's usually too restrictive. It doesn't allow for investment and reinvestment. It doesn't allow for ambition or the reality of motherhood. It just shames you into living a very particular life. And I'm not interested in that life. I'm interested in power, clarity. I'm interested in mothers running their households like wealth building machines. So yeah, budgets are bullshit. But your numbers are power. Look at them like the CFO you are and move accordingly. Stop budgeting your life away. Start building something that pays you back. The goal isn't to save money, it's to build a life that money can support. Spend smart, acquire assets. I'm Elli Ezra. I'll see you next time.